Hello everyone, my name is Mark Edward Blanton with The Real South Africa.
And I am Dr. Latasha Blanton, also with The Real South Africa.
We have an amazing group trip that you will be interested in. It's with the African Diaspora News Channel, a great YouTube channel, gives you great information about what's going on in Africa. But we have a group trip featuring Phillip Scott, the host.
And the trip is going to take place on March 16th through the 25th. It's going to go to Johannesburg and Cape Town, and It's in 2022. If you're interested in traveling, please send an email to info@therealsouthafrica.com.
And we'll see you here in sunny South Africa.
So Jim Crow Joe, he's in trouble. He's in trouble with black people, and he knows it. And now recently, Representative Jamal Bowman of New York has blamed Jim Crow Joe's lack of action on police reform for his tumbling numbers among black voters. Now, Mr. Bowman, he is the sole member of the squad that is a male. It's kind of interesting, but okay. So they said that he largely won his primary against longtime incumbent Representative Eliot Engel after Mr. Engel was caught on hot mic saying, if I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. It said at a rally after the murder of George Floyd by police in Minneapolis. Now, along with being a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Mr. Bowman is also a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. And you know how I feel about the Congressional Black Caucus. I did a whole podcast on that. Go check it out. It says, as the president loses support in the African-American community, it's important for the president to be in a strategic planning sessions with both legacy and contemporary civil rights and the CBC and activists. Now, what do they mean by legacy? Old school. That's what they mean. Now, who are the contemporary civil rights groups? Who are they? Are you talking about Black Lives Matter, which is white owned and white controlled? Now, Black Lives Matter, the statement and the mantra is something that a lot of people just get behind, but that organization is just a white liberal LGBT ran organization that wants to destroy the nuclear family, and we can't definitely support that, destroying the nuclear family. So it continues, it's so that we can get something done that the black community has been fighting for and demanding and dying for many years, which is just not voting rights, but police reform, is what he said. Now, last week, Derek Chauvin, and say the white supremacist police who killed George Floyd by kneeling on his neck, pled guilty to violating Mr. Floyd's civil rights. It said after Derek Chauvin's initial conviction in April, it said, now, Jim Crow Joe said he pledged to Mr. Floyd's family that Congress would pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, but negotiations between Senator Cory Booker, it's a Democrat, and Senator Tim Scott, a Republican, these are both black men, as well as Representative Karen Bass of California, black woman, as they failed, and police reform has essentially fallen by the wayside since then. And black voters are pissed about that, and they should be. They should be very pissed, because you told black folks, if they just get you in, if they get you with the majority in the House, if they can get you the majority of the Senate, then you can get them police reform. And you have not done that. You have not done it. You're always mentioning Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin. The two people could hold up everything y'all gonna do. Y'all could easily went around them on a whole lot of things, and y'all chose not to. Then you had old Clyburn talking about, well, we could take out the chokeholds and just trying to basically water down the bill. Like, what's the point of it if you're not going to qualified immunity? He wants to take that out. Well, the main sticking point would be the qualified immunity. But if you remove qualified immunity from the bill, then it literally neutralizes the race soldiers. So they have to think about it before I guarantee you, if you take away their qualified immunity, watch how those extrajudicial killings of black people go down overnight, because when they'll be held accountable for it. Now, they said that they claim Senate Republicans rejected enacting modest reforms, which even the previous president had supported, while refusing to take action on key issues. They said that many in law enforcement were willing to address. That's what Jamal Bowman said. Now, since then, the White House has been most focused on passing the bipartisan infrastructure package that he signed in November and that Mr. Bowman voted against, as well as his proposed Build Back Better legislation, which would include provisions to combat climate change, expanded child care tax credit, the universal pre-K home care for elderly people and people with disabilities. But as they said before, Senator Joe Manchin blocked the measure. Democrats have said they will attempt to pass voting rights, but have been silenced on police reform. They said that they would get voting rights done. They would get police reform done. And the Democrats not do that. Biden didn't go in and focusing on that. He went focus on everything else. He didn't go in. He didn't go in and tell y'all he gonna get an Asian hate crime bill. Now did he? Did you vote for that? And you weren't even added to that bill because you could have been added to that bill. And they didn't do that, right? He's giving away all this free money. He's doing all these things and nothing for black people. Black Americans have every right to be pissed. Black Americans have every right to abandon the Democrat Party that looks out for everybody else but the black man and black woman of America. You should show the Democrat Party that you mean business. And we said this before, and I'll say it again. You can do one or two things. You could either say, you know what? Do what you're going to do. Since you do nothing for me, go to those other groups. Tell them vote for you. And let's see how many elections you're going to win. And if you study statistics, when it comes to people's voting, they lose without the black people. Or some black people may be upset and want to do a protest vote. So they'll vote for Republicans. Now, I know some of you who hear that, you're getting your emotions about it and oh my God, I can't believe Phil said that. He must be getting paid. I'm still waiting on my check. I ain't getting paid. We will take, hey, you want to donate to the platform, I take donations where it comes from. I don't take donations to be controlled. No, they can't control me because of a donation. But you're donating to help the platform go. You're not going to say, well, I donate, but you got to say this. That don't happen. If you want us to say something, run an ad. Then we'll think about what you're doing. And not all ads I will accept either, right? But black folks got a decision to make. Now, we know, based on what statistics also is saying, that the 50 and up are the most loyal to the Democrat Party. Now, am I saying all 50 and up is loyal? No, not all. But the majority is loyal to the Democrat Party. The majority just still has that old school, as long as I see a black face, I'm fine. They don't have to do nothing for us as black people. As long as I get my Social Security check, as long as they leave me alone, let me go do my vacations, let me go do whatever I'm doing. I'm not trying to be in the streets with them young people. I'm not worried about them issues and problems. You ain't worrying about school no more. You ain't worrying about getting a home. You're not worried about, the wealth gap. You're not worried. You got what you're going to get, and you just trying to live your best life. Well, you should think a little bit more than just yourself. You run out here, keep voting for the same people that don't do nothing for black people. So yes, when I put this out the first time, I had a lot of emails coming to me about, when I said the 50 and up in our community is the problem, based on statistics, because the majority will run and vote for Democrat. The one under 50, definitely 40 and under for sure. They're not fooling with Democrats like that, and they know it. They know it. They know they're in trouble. But from what I'm seeing, some of those in the 50 and up crowd, some of them actually starting to have a problem with the Democrat Party because they're like, wait a minute, hold on. You said you was going to do something about this police reform. You said you was going to do something about these voting rights. And you ain't got nothing done. You worrying about infrastructure and all this. Man, get our stuff done first, then get infrastructure done. You understand? Because we didn't go run out there and vote for you. That's what black people are saying, for no infrastructure. We didn't vote for none of that. We voted to get the voting rights done. Definitely the police reform done. You seen the country was going crazy in 2020. And you not going to do nothing about the police reform? That should have been the first thing you should have did. And if you would have did the police reform, you wouldn't have problems in the polls. If you did voting rights reform, you wouldn't have problem in the polls. If Jim Crow Joe would have said, hey, black people, we make sure they have a hate crime bill and they're protected status, then he definitely would be in the good right now, especially with black people. He would easily cruise in there for a second term. But you chose to throw your weight behind all these other groups. And this is what I say. Let the other groups go vote for you. It's just that simple. Only do something for people that do something for you. Our relationship with political parties is that it needs to be quid pro quo, period. Now, Jim Crow Joe's numbers are dropping among black Americans. And in his victory speech in November 2020, he explicitly thanked black Americans who helped him over the top against Senator Bernie Sanders. And he said, especially for those moments when his campaign was at its lowest, the African American community stood up for me. It said, stood up again for me. Okay? He said, they always have my back and I'll have yours. He said at that time. But in April, 78% of black voters polled by Quinnipiac University approved of the job that he was doing. But last month, it said that number tumbled to 63%. And of course, we know that is the 50 and ups. And it's even in that crowd, it's going to drop lower than 63%. But what am I saying is the Democrat Party, they on the hot seat. I see the 2020, if they don't do something quick, I mean, something specifically for black people quick and give black people what they need very quick, I'm telling you, it's going to be a sea of red in that midterms next November. And it's going to be some crying. It's going to be some crying. Then they're going to come out blaming black people why they lost. No, blame yourself. Blame yourself because when you had all this time to do something for black people, you didn't. Just like you were trying to blame us for Virginia. Blame yourselves. We don't have to show up for you. You don't pay us anything to show up. You don't give us nothing. We're tired of watching other groups come in this country that didn't go through anything that we went through and benefit more than us. Hell no. Tell them other groups to go show up for you and vote for you. Tell them that. Go call the LGBT and go call the Afghans and go call the Asian community. Go call the different communities come vote for you. To call them. Because you have a right to call in that favor. But with us, you have no right because you've done nothing for us at all. But let me know in the comments section what you think about this particular story. I'm just shaking my head at it. But my thing is, when our people going to learn? When are we going to learn that we don't vote for nobody unless they're going to do something specifically for black people, not people of color, not minority, not low-income communities, black Americans, black people, African American. Choose one, but they need to do something for us specifically. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in the Google Play and Apple App Store. Living in America as a black person, you recognize there is one set of laws for you and one set of laws for those, especially in the white community. In our book, Passive Aggressive Racism in the System of White Supremacy, I take you through times in my life when I first started noticing white supremacy. We teach you how to recognize it, identify it, and also counter it in our book. This book is a beginner's course for those that are just starting to wake up and open their eyes to see the system of white supremacy. As a black American person, you must understand this system because this system is life or death to you. How you handle it, how you deal with it, it can affect your mental health if you don't understand this system. Pick up our book, Passive Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy, today on Amazon.